Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday evening. We have a lot of stories for you today. The Senior Bowl practice is underway, a potential tax increase for Mobile, and an update on a Santa Rosa County homicide. All of that and more is coming up on News 5 Now.
Brought to you by Green & Phillips, covering news from your neighborhood and around the world. News 5 Now starts right now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into News 5 Now at 5:30. I am digital reporter Summer Poole, and I am your host today. I have not seen you guys or been on here since before the snow and cold weather, so let me know below in the comments, how did you feel about the snow? Did you have fun in the snow? I was working, but when I had every chance to go outside, I did, and I played in the snow, and it was so much fun. So thank you again for joining me. We are going to do our big stories, our question of the day, our poll of the day, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. So let's get started on our big stories for today. Number 5, Senior Bowl practice began today at Hancock Whitney Stadium. All practices are open to the public starting at 9:30 in the morning and running through 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Practices are scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday, and the game is set for Saturday at 1:30. That should be a really good game, really fun. Number 4, Mobile County's Distinguished Young Woman Representative Shayla Holloway now holds the title of Distinguished Young Woman of Alabama. Holloway was named the Distinguished Young Woman of Mobile County last June. She follows Deasia Jones, who was Mobile County's last representative, and actually Deasia went on to become the National Distinguished Young Woman. So Holloway is now preparing to represent the state at the national finals in Mobile this June. At number 3, there's a new baby box in Mobile. It's located at the Mobile Fire Station on Davenport Avenue. The city held a blessing ceremony this morning. Safe Haven baby boxes aim to end infant abandonment by providing secure locations for parents in crisis to give up their babies. This is Alabama's 15th Safe Haven baby box. There are 310 nationwide. At number 2, the Mobile City Council is considering a tax increase that would predominantly affect tourists. They'll vote next week on a tax increase that would bring the city's lodging tax from 8% up to 10%. Mobile Mayor Sandy Stimpson says the goal is to generate at least $300 million annually to help pay for the Mobile Regional Airport's relocation. He says excess revenue would go toward the Civic Center project. And at number 1, we are learning more about a Santa Rosa County homicide that occurred last week. Toby White is accused of stabbing 77-year-old Lucy Reed to death in front of her husband. In an interview with investigators, White said God told him to kill her. Multiple Florida law enforcement agencies worked together to arrest White over the weekend. And that's a look at our big stories this Tuesday evening. Now let's go ahead and move right on over to the question of the day. Now, I did a little bit of research, and I went ahead and looked at some of you guys' comments because although I'm a football fan, go Lions, I'm not familiar with like a bunch of coaches. I'm also not that great at names of football players. I'm learning more though because I'm in the WKRG Fantasy Football League. But so I had to do a little bit of research on this, and I got my coworker Pat to help me out too. So the question of the day is: the New Orleans Saints have the last head coaching vacancy in the NFL currently. Who should they hire? So we're going to scroll through some of you guys' comments. Now, this is a name I had to search. Ed Orgeron. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I'm could completely be saying it wrong, so my apologies. But what I gathered was he is the former Saints defensive line coach, the former Ole Miss head coach, the former USC head coach, and the former LSU head coach. So I'm trying to do you guys a favor if you're like me and don't really know who these people are. We also got a lot for Mike McCarthy, like Greg said here. McCarthy is the Cowboys coach currently. He was the former Green Bay Packer head coach, the former 49ers and Saints offensive coordinator, and the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback coach. So there's a little bit on him. Michael says Deion Sanders. Lola says they need to hire Jesus. Okay. Terrence says Nick Saban. We all know Nick Saban. Michael said Mike McCarthy, who I already named, and John Gruden. Again, sorry, apologies for that name. He was the former Bucks and Raiders head coaches, the former Eagles offensive coordinator, and the former Packers wide receiver coach. So a few other people while I'm here, while we're talking about the question of the day, a few other names that I saw were Kellen Moore, who is the current Eagles offensive coordinator. You know the Eagles are now in the Super Bowl. And he was the former Chargers offensive coordinator and the former Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator. And then T. Martin is another name that I saw. He is the current Ravens quarterback coach. So there are a couple of answers for you guys. Thank you so much for participating in our question of the day. Now we are going to move to our poll of the day. And our poll is, do you think convicted felons should have the right to vote? Now, this came up after yesterday the United States Supreme Court upheld a Mississippi law where people who are convicted of certain felonies cannot vote. So here's how you voted. 55% of you say yes, they should have the right to vote. 45% of you voted no. Thank you again so much for participating in our question and our poll of the day. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework, like I said at the beginning. So, here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to go to our Facebook page, if you're not there already. I know some of you guys are watching off WKRG.com. So, make your way over to our Facebook page, WKRG, and you're going to want to vote in our next question and poll of the day. So, our next question is, which player are you most excited to watch at the Senior Bowl? And our poll of the day is, do you support Mobile potentially increasing its lodging tax? Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier. It was one of our big stories. The Mobile City Council is considering increasing the lodging tax for mainly tourists, but it could affect Mobilians. I think Mayor Sandy Simpson said like 1% of Mobilians it would affect. And the pay would go, like all the money from the extra taxes would go to the relocation of the Mobile Regional Airport, and any excess would go to the Civic Center project. So we want to know what you think. Do you support Mobile potentially increasing the lodging tax? Thank you again so much for being here with me this Tuesday evening. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Covering news from your neighborhood and around the world. You are watching News 5 Now, brought to you by Green & Phillips.